Hey, thanks for coming back on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
What are we talking about today? We're talking about expert quotes get you more LLM citations.
Yeah, we've been doing some tests lately, and we found that we were able to get cited within like 2 hours of publishing a piece of content, completely written by AI. And we just said, make sure it includes an expert quote. And all of a sudden, AI overviews picked it up right away.
And you tested like without expert quotes and performance was worse.
Yeah, I mean, like we're publishing so much content all the time, so we're like, okay, let's try adding expert quotes and see how that does. And for some reason that piece of content got picked up right away. I think like the only thing that we did different was adding that expert quote.
You've tried this multiple times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so then when you're like getting expert quotes, is it like any expert? Are you just like kind of Googling around to find like a relevant quote? Are you linking out? Are you using
So
Help Reporter out and posting as a journalist?
no, we're not doing anything like with the help a reporter out stuff, but basically it's just like finding somebody who is relevant in that industry and saying, like, I'll just say like Edward, the SEO expert, says that if you include external links, like it helps you rank 10 times faster. Right. And then we'll link to like your LinkedIn or your website or anything like that, but like not the whole quote. So it's like, here's a real person saying this real thing, doing this real quote. Um, and I think LLMs are picking that up and Google's picking that up as like, okay, well, these people are actually quoting somebody and it's like a factual thing.
So best practice for basically trying to rank with top of funnel content is actually try to like quote other sources.
I think so, yeah. Like, and like you and I were chatting earlier about like making sure to have external links in your content, because that tends to rank better. And I always say, and I even like included in my book, like external links show that you're not making shit up. Like, if you have a stat saying like 57% of all website visitors convert if you do this one thing, it's like, well, you better have a link to that study. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just making that number up.
Yeah. 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 In fact, Google's guidelines, literally in Google Search Central blog, they actually have a blog post linking out often. It's just applying common sense. And like and it recommends like, yeah, link out. And I sent this to you before this show was it was this experiment where there were 10 pages on, I think it was all different sites,
Yep.
and but like all variables were even. The only variable that changed, and they were all going after the same made up keyword, which was philandosic. And and, and all the variables were the same. The only thing that was different was that on 5 of the pages there were outbound links, and on another 5 of the pages there were no outbound links. And literally in the SERP, all 5 of the pages that had outbound links ranked above the pages without the outbound links. All 5. And it
Yeah.
was like just completely clear, completely clear results. And it's very interesting. So you're using now expert quotes, and that's just helping you get. And this is okay. So AI overviews, are we talking like other LLMs as well?
It's so it takes a while, at least I've noticed with like Claude, for example. If you're like, who is the best blank, like it doesn't have the most recent data unless you're like, go search for this piece of content. Like if I say, who are the top SEO influencers, like you and I aren't going to be on any list because Claude, like unless they're doing a search, then it's not going to show up. Um, for ChatGPT, I actually haven't tested it in chat. I was doing more with AI overviews, like how quickly can we get ranked? Like the piece of content got ranked like on page one as well as reference in the AI overviews as a source. Um, One thing that I do want to mention though is like this is only for top of funnel content. This is for blog posts, like informational, content, building your topical authority, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the actual, you know, compact keywords pages, we'll call them, um,
Thank you.
you don't want to have expert quotes,
Actually
right?
could
Unless
see
it's
it.
from
I
you.
could actually see it. I could see an expert quote working. It's like, let's say you're like some service company and or let's say you're like an HVAC company, and you're like, yeah, we actually do this extra. You say on like one of the bottom of funnel SEO landing pages, we do this extra service, and we kind of require it because like 97% of so and so like says that you
Yeah.
need this, and then you actually link out. I could see something like that working. It'd be
But
lower down on the page.
that's more, I would say, like having an external link verifying the facts that you're talking about. But like you wouldn't say Bob from the HVAC company down the street also agrees with me and
No,
says this. You
no
know what I
way.
mean?
Yeah.
So like external links, yes, but expert quotes, not so sure.
This method of marketing is so effective, I had to make sure it wasn't against Google's rules before I kept doing it. It's a form of SEO I call compact keywords. Whereas most SEO focuses on putting up articles to answer questions how, what, when, compact keywords focuses on putting up dozens of pages that sell to searchers who are actually looking to buy. These pages rank on Google and convert so much better than normal that when I discovered this years ago, I couldn't believe this was allowed. It's less work too. The average compact keywords page is only 415 words. Compact Keywords is a 13-hour deep course on getting sales with SEO. A customer recently said, "Each lesson is dense with information. You're giving years worth of experience boiled down into 15 to 30-minute lessons with no filler or fluff. I feel like I'm gaining a new superpower." Compact Keywords is about setting up an SEO funnel that brings you sales for years and years and years. It works with AI, it's less work than traditional SEO, and it makes way more money. You can get it now at compactkeywords.com. Back to the podcast.
Does that make sense?
Unless it's from a tangential company, like an adjacent, unless it's from like an adjacent source.
Yeah, so it's like the board of trustees for this industry, whatever, says that, this X, Y, and Z. But that's still like, I'm like, how are you getting an expert quote from one person that is going to be relevant on your bottom of funnel page?
Yeah,
Like external links.
you need to have like some sort of consensus explaining why what you're doing is important, and maybe it's something that you're doing different than what other what your competitors are doing. So
Yeah,
so you're saying that you are doing something different than your competitors, and you're backing it up with one, what you've seen, and then two, like some like industry statistic that just backs up why like this unconventional practice. So like an example is like with compact keywords. When I'm selling compact keywords,
yeah,
I cite an Ahrefs study that says that AI overviews reduce click-through rates by 34.5%, and that AI overviews are 99% triggered by informational content. It might be a lot more bottom of funnel content now as well.
yeah,
But still, like AI overviews are reducing, but still you want to be like, even if you're doing bottom of funnel content, you want to be recommended in the AI overview, because then it's just the AI overview is recommending your product. And
yeah,
yeah, but like I'm citing Ahrefs because they
yeah.
are giving me a statistic that explains why my unique method of SEO is a better method.
100%. And I just also want to mention too is like you talked about how AI overviews are stealing traffic away from websites, which people might say, "Oh shit, that's a bad thing." Right? There goes my traffic, but a lot of it, like you're saying, is that informational stuff. Now, I'm looking at it from the point of view that if you are getting cited by AI overviews, even if you're not getting the clicks, that is still building you that topical authority because Google is referencing your site. So you might not need as many clicks anymore, and you might just need more of the AI overview citations.
What sort of things do you do to build topical authority?
Write blog posts. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the biggest thing that small businesses can do. Like write blog posts, show up on every social media platform that you can. Um, Join your local chamber of commerce, do local events, like, and we're talking like topical authority, like that's kind of like off-page authority as well, but that still helps with building topical authority, and then backlinks and stuff like that. But I would say most small businesses don't have time to do all of this stuff. So I'm like, let's build topical authority by writing blog posts, by answering these questions. And if you can post on social media, fantastic. If you can't, I mean, you probably still should.
Have you seen like the people also ask trick for building topical authority.
Like you like type in whatever keyword or whatever you sell, and then you keep clicking. People also ask, and it keeps
Yeah, so you
popping more
get all
down.
these people also. This is from David Quaid, friend of the podcast and a friend of mine. He came on the show and shared this. And he gets people also ask questions in his niche, gives them gives them to Perplexity, just like copies everything and says to Perplexity, give me like 120 word answers for each of these, return it in a markdown file. Takes all of those, makes an FAQ subfolder on his site,
Yeah.
puts up each one of them. And it's just like you have, like, let's say it's whiskey dash FAQ. That's the subfolder. After that, you have the name of you have the question. That's the
Yep.
URL slug. And so, you have the H1, which is the question, and then you have the answer, which is what Perplexity gave. You should obviously edit it for your voice, remove like AI
Yep.
giveaways. And then once you start ranking, and then the subfolder is linked to in your footer. And once you start ranking, then you actually go and build out those pages, but only for the ones that you're ranking. You build out those pages, you interlink to other ones, you interlink to like lucrative bottom of funnel SEO landing pages. But you only do it for the pages that you're ranking for. And the thing about people also ask questions is they're long tail enough that they're very easy to rank for. And
Yeah.
by just ranking for all of these people also ask questions in your niche, you build a lot of topical authority. And it's a
100%.
easy thing that, like, especially newer sites can do to get topical authority in their niche.
Are you at all worried about having too many pages and using too much of the crawl budget on those pages that aren't doing anything?
I wouldn't do a ton of the people also ask questions at the beginning. Like, this is the type of thing that you scale as you're also building links and you're putting up bottom of funnel SEO landing pages and you're putting up normal blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything in moderation. Like, did you hear about how Shopify was just like hit for all of their self-promotional listicles?
No,
Oh
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. So they were putting up just the most egregious self-promotional listicles where they would rank themselves number one, and they were doing hundreds of these, Matt.
Dang.
Hundreds, and they were all generated by AI, all 100% generated by AI. And like it was bad. Like they had the AI giveaways in. They
Yeah.
started with like the common AI language, used all the M dashes. Like it was so bad. And Lily Ray did this great study, and Shopify, they just pumped these out and it worked for like a little bit, and then they lost a lot of traffic to it was like their blog subfolder. It's just it was a lot of their top of funnel traffic. And actually, so Wix is doing the same thing. And on tomorrow's show, Harpreet Singh, who's a friend of the podcast, he's coming
Yeah.
on to break down. Wix it actually might be even worse content than what Shopify had. But it's like hundreds of these. They're doing like how-to guides, and it's hundreds of terrible AI generated, bad content. And
So
sorry.
I want to mention a couple things. You are naturally in this podcast, and I think anybody who's listening, you could see this and how you would include expert quotes in your content. Like you're talking about Lily Ray and Harpreet, like you're talking about all these other people, and that's adding validity to what you're saying. So why wouldn't that rank higher?
Yes.
Right. And the second
Yes.
thing is like you're talking about how Shopify and Wix are using this AI content and it's getting flagged and they're losing traffic and all this kind of stuff. My question for you is, do you believe that AI written content is going to start getting flagged, spammed, like anything like that? Like people who are using it right now on their websites, do you think that's going to come to an end?
I think it's probably more about my gut tells me it's more about the volume. And if it's completely AI written, but it's human edited, so here's my nuanced answer. One, the volume. Like if the velocity just like suddenly shoots up and you keep pumping out page after page after page, like you're going from 0 to 100 suddenly, and that's going to be a red flag. That's going to be like weird activity. If the bounce rate is honestly, if it's just bad AI content and you keep ranking with this stuff and you're like, it's going to increase bounce rate eventually, Like
Yeah.
people are going to catch on. They're not going to like it. They're going to stop clicking to your site. They're going to go back to the SERPs. They're going to pogo stick. That's going to be a major red flag for Google as well. Now the real question is Google actually trying to detect AI content? Probably not. I think if anything, they would look for patterns that like sites have which are going heavy on AI content. That's easily detectable patterns, because the thing is, actually trying to detect AI written content for every page in their index will be too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Um,
they would look for easily identifiable patterns, like, okay, this site fits this pattern of the other sites we have that are spamming AI content, bad AI
so
content.
this is where I think having like those expert quotes or like the EAT kind of factors where you're using personal experience and your stories and case studies, all that kind of stuff. That's where I think that comes into play, because I'm on the same page as you, where like what's the difference between AI writing content and a person? Like the content can be equally good. A person can write the exact same way. AI is just doing it faster, but it still needs that human intervention of like, does this make sense? Right?
Here's
Does
my
this
question.
keyword
Here's my
actually make
question to
sense?
you. Here's my question to you. Do you think, or maybe it's niche specific, do you think readers can like searchers can identify uh, unrevised AI written content, and will it actually increase pogo sticking, in your opinion?
I think they can identify poorly written AI content easily, for sure. Well written content, maybe not so much, especially content that includes expertise, experience, expert quotes, all that kind of stuff. Um, but does it really matter for search, for ranking?
Does it, if it's done well, it doesn't matter. Also, like something
Doesn't
else,
matter.
like it's really just about like a good way to actually do AI content is you don't have it just write everything in one go. You actually have it write like different sections, and then it
Yeah,
goes through different. Then you actually have another AI that edits it and facts check, and even maybe even another layer of AI doing it.
yeah,
And in addition to doing sections, you also have like best practices, like put a TLDR at the top, and literally
yeah,
like in the prompt say, this keyword is this, write a TLDR that uses the rest of the content in this to satisfy the search intent for this keyword. Make the
yeah,
TLDR one sentence. Include the keyword in the TLDR. It's like,
yeah.
it's about the prompting and
100%.
the layering of AI.
So I like another question for you is like, do you think people can look at a piece of content, like a human, look at a piece of content and be like, this was clearly optimized for SEO?
Yeah. 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 I think at this point, yeah.
I think I think it's if it's poorly
If,
optimized,
if it's poorly
you
optimized,
know.
100%. Yeah. And it will
Yeah.
bother them in the same way that if they can tell, like, personally, if I get to a page and I feel like it was written by AI, I don't bother to read on. I pogo stick.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
personally because I mean, we know how the sausage is made. I'm just like, oh yeah, if this whole thing reads like clear AI, there's a good chance that they didn't edit it, and maybe they did, but to me, I'm like, good chance they didn't, and I don't want to waste my time.
so how important, and like not just from an SEO perspective, but from a user perspective, is the content between the headings? Like the actual body of the content, because you're saying like I'll start reading it and bounce, go to another site if it's, if I can detect it's AI or it's like, heavily optimized, anything like that. But like, are most people reading the full body? Are they scanning?
What do you think?
I think people are lazy. Like
Absolutely, they're
at
100%
the
lazy.
very bottom line is that people are lazy, you and I included, and we're just looking for answers to our questions. So, like what you're talking about with the TLDR right at the beginning, like, can you do blank? It's like, yes, you can do blank. Here are the implications. And it's like, if people want to read on further, they can do that. But if the content isn't structured properly, I think that's when, even if it's AI written,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's when people are bouncing. That's when people are going back.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And also there is an outsized importance with what you have above the fold
Yeah.
than below the rest of below the fold. I was you who taught me actually what below the fold means. It's like your first
Oh
time on the
shit.
podcast, and you're like, "Do you know why they call it above the fold and below the fold?" And it was like, what? It's like newspaper related.
Yeah. It's like when you get a newspaper, it's folded in half, right? And it's the top part sells the newspaper, at least back in the day. It's like, oh shit, I need to read more about this. And then the other side is, less important. Still
Yeah,
important, but less.
yeah. But above the fold, yeah, you want people to understand, hey, this is written for you as a searcher. Like we know what you are looking for. Like what I just say is like give the answer right away above the fold. Use the rest of the content to predict what the searcher will want next, and then if it's top of funnel, weave in your offers. Have like I'm not going to say related pop up, semi-related pop up, but like weave in your offers, interlink to like relevant sources that can move people down your funnel. Like let me
Yeah,
ask you. Let me ask you
100%.
this before we go, because the topic of this episode was to just talk about your finding with expert quotes leading to more AI overview citations. How different do you think doing SEO for LLMs is from normal SEO?
I don't think it's really that different. I think SEO is evolving, every day, every year, and what people are looking for is also changing as well. So when we're talking about like, yeah, include the answer right at the top, and like that does help you get cited by LLMs because it makes their job easier. That's also what people are looking for. Like we've all been to the recipe websites where it's like, here's my grandma's bolognese recipe. It's the last thing she told me before she died. And I was writing it down as quickly as I possibly could. And we're in the hospital and the light was shining, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, but I don't give a fuck.
You can swear.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want the recipe. How much olive oil goes into this? How much ground beef do I need? Right. So it's like when we're talking about like LLMs, it's the exact same thing that people actually want. There's no like, I think it's more leveling the playing field of SEO, especially for small businesses who are experts in their field, but not SEO experts, right? It's like, can you do this? Yes, you can do this. Here's how to do it, right? And then people can read on. So is doing a SEO for LLMs different than SEO for Google now? Slightly, but I think it's merging more into one. And that's what the user wants,
Yeah, I think
right?
it's slightly in that reputation management matters maybe a little, maybe a bit more. I don't even know. Like in my opinion, reputation management was always part of SEO.
Yeah.
So you always wanted to be, if you had a good product in your niche, you always wanted to be on like listicles in your niche.
Yeah.
Like what's changed? Like, well, come on. And actually, this is, I don't know if you get criticism like this on social media, but like I made a video, I think it was yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, I said ChatGPT is just another searcher. Here's how it searches the web. Here's how you
Yeah.
can see the query fan outs. Here's how you like all the prompts. And I said, yeah, so I said ChatGPT is just another searcher, and like some guy yelled at me on LinkedIn, and he's like, you constantly give these facts where you know nothing about how LLMs work, and you do it over and over again. It's like every 10 days you say the same wrong statistic and fact.
Yeah.
Are you getting
It's
those?
I okay. I got I'm trying to remember what the comment was exactly, but it was just like criticizing that I did not know what I was talking about, and that it's like again, wrong information. I get these comments every single day. This one was, I was so like not angry or upset. I was just like, why are you like, you clearly don't know what you're talking about, and you're upset because of some other reason. Um, but yeah, like people, and I think that's the thing too, is like with your podcast, what I think you do really well is you have all these experts on. So when you say something and make a claim like ChatGPT is just another searcher, it's not because you're just making it up, right? You can actually see, you can go into the console and you can see what ChatGPT is actually going to Google or Bing or whatever and searching. But you're also talking to other experts and they're agreeing with that as well, right? So it's
Yes,
like I'm
yes.
not just making I'm not just making shit up.
But I do actually,
And
I do have, to be fair, I do have lots of other SEOs on here who I completely disagree with, but I have them on anyway because it's an
yeah,
interesting discussion.
absolutely. And like I'm sure like I don't know if we have anything that we disagree about, but
Yeah, I think you and I
um
agree on a lot of things.
yeah. But like yeah, there are some SEOs out there that I'm like I don't know. I don't agree with what you're doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Only because I'm like I know that I get results on what I do, and like I train my team and they get results based on what I do, and then I look at their strategies, and if they're changing at all, if they're trying other things, I'm like this is the stuff that works, right?
Yeah, I think I just probably you and I we focus on what moves the needle a lot, and I think a lot of other people won't do that, um, or they actually will focus on it too much and spam it to a dangerous degree. That's another very common thing that I see from lots
Okay.
of SEOs.
So here's a question for you. You get hired to do a site. I know you don't have like an agency that you're doing as of yet. Um, but you get hired and this client has like 500 pages on their website, local business, and they're like, "Okay, I want you to optimize my site." Would you fix every single page on the website if it's missing meta descriptions, title tags, or it doesn't include the keyword, or there's no H1 tags? Are you fixing all of that before you start creating new pages, new content? Like, what are you doing?
500 pages on the site. I would say start with what's indexed. But if you the thing is if you're fixing like these are low-hanging fruit fixes that can result in a lot of extra organic traffic. And this is actually a lot of people would probably disagree with me on this, but I kind of believe in like a site-wide quality score. And
Okay.
yeah, and so I think you want to have I think a lot of people disagree with me on that, but like I think if I th- I mean, and it makes a lot of sense though. Like think about this. Like if your site constantly is disappointing searchers, why is Google going to keep ranking your site? If
Well,
all your
so
pages have tons of pogo sticking and terrible CTRs, I mean, yeah,
so we're talking about a like a site that like it's most of those pages aren't getting any traffic, right? They're not optimized, they're not necessarily
well,
using the right keyword, all this kind of stuff. So nobody's pogoing, nobody's even finding those pages to begin with.
it could be. I mean, are you saying they don't even have like page titles and meta descriptions or what? Or
Or
it's
they're
just
just like they're duplicates or they're, it's just not optimized. Like do you
I would totally remove I would like, remove the duplicates, remove
so
like
you're
the
going through and you're doing a full site health
I mean,
revitalization like
you know,
fix.
it depends because like if you're like a news site with like thousands and thousands of pages, you might just want to start by hopefully you've been using subfolders and you can just like you can just remove entire subfolders and redirect them. Or actually no, Google likes 404s, maybe even just 404 them. Ones that aren't ranking. Ones that aren't
Yeah.
ranking. Like if it's ranking, then probably leave it up. Try to make like put in low-hanging fruit optimizations. But yeah, I think it's extremely important to have a very solid foundation before doing offensive SEO.
So I know like we're going way over time on this podcast, but I love
Do you
talking to
agree
you.
with
And
that or do you disagree with that?
I disagree with that, and I'm going to
Okay.
tell you why.
Yeah.
So you have a client, the same client, the 500 page website, local business, whatever. They're a little bit savvy, so they go into Screaming Frog or like the Hey Tony audit tool, and they see like I have all these red warnings. I have things that are wrong with my site, notices. Like I need to go through and fix all this stuff, and they hire you, and they're expecting you to fix 500 pages, in the first month and be like, well, why aren't we making progress? What's going on here? So for me, I'm like, we could either fix those 500 pages, which are likely not built to rank, right? We're
Well,
doing
that's
keyword
different.
research.
I'm not saying take a blog post that you wrote for just the sake of writing a blog post and then try to find a keyword to add to it.
Right.
I'm not saying do
So
that.
you're just talking from like a technical point of view, like make sure there's no
I'm saying if
duplicates.
you have a million pages that have no page titles, put in page titles. Meta description is not really important. You don't need meta descriptions. But if
Right.
you
But
have
like,
if you have a million page pages that don't have page titles, and you actually have content on them that could rank, try to put in a page title.
But do you not have to do keyword research before you do that? Right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like at what point does it
So you
become
could, I
way
mean,
too
there's
much work?
probably it's going to be a title for the page, and you can use that. I mean, well, Google would take that anyway. That's a good
Right? So
question.
this is
That's a good
yeah.
question. I mean, I still probably would try to find a keyword that was relevant if I could, but I mean, I still just think about like, what are more common? Yeah, I would still do all the technical. I would still do. I'm like a person who is just I just have a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah.
And if I do a site crawl and I see that like I have all these pages that maybe like the slugs are just like random strings, and I don't have page titles, or I have like multiple H1s, like personally, I want to fix that stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
would I recommend fixing that stuff? Actually, I would recommend fixing that stuff because it is very possible that just by actually putting in the thought to fix that stuff, you could start ranking for a lot of keywords that you otherwise wouldn't rank for. And I see that happen all the time. Or you
Yeah.
discover you have all this duplicate content that's hurting you. Like I think actually going through that exercise is extremely important. And I still believe having a strong technical foundation is going to help you do offensive SEO really well. Yeah.
So I agree and disagree. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying this from two different perspectives because as somebody who runs an agency, we have a lot of clients. And over the last, 15 years of doing this, like the number one reason a client leaves after 2 or 3 or 4 months is because they are not seeing more traffic to their website. Not qualified traffic, just traffic. Like they're not seeing any increase at all. So for me, I'm like, we can focus on fixing those 500 pages that are not optimized. Like, they're not going after the right keyword or any keyword at all. Um, or we can slowly work on that stuff, but start writing content that is low difficulty, lower traffic, or lower volume, and start getting that ball rolling and start getting some traffic to the website. And as that starts rolling, like look for low hanging fruit opportunities on the website, which may already exist. And when I say low hanging fruit, I mean content that is pretty well written. It's just not optimized. Like it might have duplicate tags, or it might uh, not have any internal links to it or from it.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, a better way to do it might be to just see what's being indexed and see if there's like low-hanging fruit optimizations to make to
Yeah.
whatever is already being indexed. If you have a lot of, let me ask you this: if you, and it also is, it's different for agencies where you need to get results really fast. But
Yeah.
I wanna ask you this: if you find that you have like a ton, just a completely outsized amount of pages that are not being indexed, will you remove those from a site?
Yeah. 100%. Because I'm like, why do we need all this bloat? Like, it's
Yeah,
not serving a purpose unless,
yeah.
like, if something is not indexed, and this is a good question. I don't know if I've thought about this, but if something is not indexed, but it has a lot of internal links going to other pieces of content on your website, is that page important to keep, even if it's not indexed?
You know, it could get indexed again.
Yeah.
I would look at it. I would look at something like that and just be like, uh, is this valuable for users?
Yeah.
I probably would look at that and just ask myself, is this actually valuable? Like, do I want this for users of the site? But you said it has a lot of internal links, but it's not being indexed. Um, yeah, I guess I would ask myself, is this valuable for users?
Well, I think it's the same kind of thing when you're looking at backlinks, and it's like SEMrush or Ahrefs or Moz is like, oh, this is a spam link, and then you're like, but is it gonna hurt if I get rid of it? Right? Like
Do you
I've seen that
disavow links?
before. I don't disavow links, no,
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't disavow links. It's too risky.
but like I've done this for my own website where I'm like, hey, these websites have high spam scores that are linking to me, and like I contact the website. I'm like, hey, can you get rid of this link? And some of the time they'll be like, yeah, no problem. Some other times they'll be like, yeah, give me $100 and I'll get rid of your link. I'm like, that's extortion. Like, that's crazy. But I had a client who was disavowing links, like all the like spam links and all this kind of stuff. And then they contact me like, why is our traffic going down? I'm like, we haven't changed anything on our end. We're still creating content. It's getting indexed. It's getting traffic, but like the site as a whole is losing traffic. And they're like, oh, we've been disavowing these, like the spam links. And I'm like, don't do that, because you don't know, like maybe Google really likes something about that link that you're getting from that site. It could be the anchor text. It could be like maybe that page is being linked to from from a .edu, like Harvard or something is linked to that page for some reason, and then that page is linking to you. Like, you don't know.
Yeah. Disavowing links is very risky. That's why I think with my answer, if it's like, look, if you're gonna remove it, like if you have, this is actually, people fight me on, like I'm like, yeah, use subfolders. I think it's like so helpful for SEO and analytics and everything. Just use subfolders.
Yep.
And it's like, you might have an entire, this happens all the time, is that sites have entire subfolders of junk content or content that is too unrelated to their niche. And
Yeah.
then it's just very easy to cut that.
100%. Like we on my end will use like a subfolder. I don't think we have one for blog, but like we have one for services, for case studies, for anything
Yeah.
like that, or video. Like you can have subfolders for those different kinds of content, and Google actually likes that because it makes it easier for them to understand. Oh, this is a service page, or this is. And if you look at any Shopify store, there's collections, there's products,
Yeah.
right, and there's Shopify drives me crazy because they create so many versions and variations of the page that are all canonical, and sometimes it misses it, and then clients are like, why isn't this page ranking? And you're like, well, that's not the actual link. This is the actual link, and it is ranking.
How do you do
Like,
SEO for Shopify sites?
how?
Yeah. How are you doing it? Are you like, yeah, what are you focusing on?
Exact same stuff as you would for a service-based business. So you need that topical authority with the content. So top of funnel content, creating that. When I say top of funnel, blog posts, obviously. I say obviously, maybe somebody's listening, they don't know. But then the biggest thing that I see is that people miss is collection pages. They don't optimize their collection pages. And I'm like, people are looking for, you know, mid-tier coffee machines, and that's the keyword they're typing in, but nobody's going after that. And you have a collection page that has all these mid-tier coffee machines, and you don't have a couple paragraphs underneath the collection.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? So that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. The second biggest thing is product names that don't have anything to do with the search intent. Right? Like if it's like, let's say it's I don't know, you sell hats, right? Like a very custom, a fur hat made, like a cat fur hat. That sounds terrible, but they're just shaving the cats. They're not actually, skinning the cats. So it's like a cat fur hat, and you call it like the Garfield hat. Nobody's looking up the Garfield hat. And
Yeah.
if they are, they're looking for like the actual Garfield cat. But nobody's
They're
looking that
looking for
up,
the
and it's
cat
like,
for hats.
but if it's like, yeah, like a red or an orange cat fur hat, like put that as your product
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
instead of the Garfield, clover hat, right? Like,
I think it was Uniqlo recently started dominating with SEO, and it was like they did like the most basic things, like making sure that like the page titles were the product names, like things like
yeah,
this. Yeah. Like literally the most basic things.
uh-huh,
And also something that I want to add with having in collection pages, having text underneath the products is like, this is a mistake that I see with a lot of Shopify sites doing bottom of funnel SEO, is they will have a bottom of funnel keyword that they are targeting. And then for the content underneath the products, it's all top of funnel language. It's
yeah,
stuff that the searcher already knows. Instead, what you should be saying is why you should be buying from your site, why you should be trusting these products and the brands that you sell. Like that's the type, it's sales language. which is very different because from explaining the search, which the searcher already knows. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
100%. Like, you have to match the content to the intent. And that's
Yeah.
like, again, I don't mean to have this podcast go on for like an hour and a half, but
This is supposed to be 15 minutes. But no, it's. I mean, I'm enjoying it, dude. We
yeah, I'm
text
having fun.
for listeners. We text all the time off, just outside of the podcast. So no, I'm enjoying this. But yeah,
Yeah. So matching intent, I think, is becoming more, not is becoming, has become more important than people realize. Because if somebody's looking for a how-to guide and you're like, here's the how-to guide, but you're actually just saying, we're going to do this for you, like that
yeah.
doesn't make sense,
Hmm.
right? That's not going to rank. And we're seeing that if we're creating any kind of content, it doesn't match exactly the intent that that person has, whether it's informational or commercial or, bottom of funnel transactional keywords. If you're not matching that, you're not going to rank.
This is a straightforward example. All right, I have this mug from Chris Gazette. I love the Chris
Yeah.
Gazette channel, and I have this mug. And let's say someone was searching for like just like a space themed mug. That could be actually a bottom of funnel keyword, space
Yeah.
themed mug. And you have a bunch of different space themed mugs, and you have a collection page for those space themed mugs. And then this is the bad way to do it is underneath that you would say space themed mugs are good because they remind you how insignificant we are in the universe and all this stuff. Instead,
Yeah.
you say our space themed mugs remind you, and you say our space themed mugs are heat resistant and safe for hot liquids and things like that. And you can literally take the same top of funnel language and also just frame it in a way, we give this to you. Everyone else gives it to you, but you say we give it to you. And yeah.
So here's another thing that I've been testing as well. We were talking a little bit about this. I don't want to reveal the whole thing, but
Oh man.
So having AI actually analyze the content that is performing versus the content that isn't performing. And that's one of the reasons why we came up with the insight, like, oh, if there's no expert quote, it's likely not going to rank as well, or not going to rank. Not that that is the only factor, obviously. But one of the things that we were looking at is like using first person language, second person versus third person language. And I know that is so small of a detail, but we found that using second person language, like you, and talking about a person, if you want to do this, then here's how you can do that. And if there's like any English major people listening and I'm getting the second person wrong, that's what I think it is. And that's like, we're finding that the content that's performing the best is using second person language.
Really? So how about do you use I? Like how often do you use I? I mean, is it, I would assume it's just contextual.
I think it's contextual. Like when I'm writing like a blog post about my book, for example, right? Like, and we talked about this. I don't know if it was the previous podcast or you. I know you did a video about it, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, I wrote this book because X, Y, and Z, right? So I'm like, obviously that's first person, but then I'm like, it will help you do X, Y, and Z. So it's like mixing all the different, what do you call them, persons?
First,
It's mixing
yeah.
those in, but it's like, is that going to perform better than something that is second person or third person?
Dude, with you actually, when I
Like if
was
I'm the
learning,
author. Sorry,
say
go
that
ahead.
again.
No, go.
When I was learning copywriting, one of the first lessons was a friend of mine who was like way better at copywriting than me. He was just very good. And he would write like these long sales letters for a very famous dating coach. I won't say who it is, but he would write like these like
Yeah.
really, really long sales letters. And so he taught me the fundamentals of copywriting. And one of the first things that I was doing wrong is I wasn't saying you. I was saying
Yeah.
like one could do this instead of you could do this. And he's like, and that just that lesson was a major game changer for like my marketing, was just to say like you to people. And you know what? It's funny too, because like we forget how these things that are probably have become so basic to us, to like, because me in 2017 didn't know that. I wasn't saying you.
It seems so obvious now, but like somebody's just learning it might not know. And even with that, like when we're talking, and like let's pause on SEO for a sec. Let's talk about social media. You don't say like, hey guys, it's like, if you want to rank higher on Google, here's what you need to do, right? Like you're being
Yes.
very intentional. This video
Yes.
is for you.
Yes.
It's like, if there's any small business owners in the house, it's like, you are a small business owner. This is going to help you, right?
Yeah.
And
You always
it
say you.
resonates a lot more.
Yeah. You if you do this, you're gonna get the craziest results with SEO. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Here's how
Yeah.
you can hack ChatGPT. Here's how you can see the searches that ChatGPT is making on Google. Like,
Dude, that's one of the ways that I have to like remind myself to keep how I keep my content fresh is like I remind myself that I didn't know this a couple of years ago, or I didn't know
yeah.
this like even if it was like 10 years ago. And like I have to then remind myself, yeah, there are people who this is not obvious to them. I wonder what else we take for granted that we know that like
Oh,
people watching.
everything. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's because a lot of my content is for people who don't know anything about Google or websites. They're a small business owner, like, they own a dumpster
All right,
removal company,
I'm
let's
gonna
say.
interrupt you. I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
What do you see a lot of experts getting wrong?
Ooh. I think it's like, okay, in what way? Like in the educating their clients way, or educating people, or in like
No,
actually
just
doing
like
the
let's say
SEO?
just like people who have been doing SEO, let's say for like 7 years, and you see 7+ years, but you still see them making because like I see people who have been doing SEO for years still making mistakes to me where it's like a common example is people who have been doing SEO for a while, they are still doing SEO like it is like 2014. And they're
Yeah,
as
okay. So
yeah.
I think that is one of the biggest mistakes is they're not staying current on what is working now and
But
like
it's
talking
not
about the
that. It's like
experts.
their copy reads like they have like we were talking
Mm,
about clear SEO content. That
yeah.
might have worked in 2014, 2015, and it's just there's it doesn't work. It doesn't work like it
So
used to.
that's the thing that I'm tripping up on is I don't consider those people experts, right? Like
Oh
if
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah, sure,
tell
sure, 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 sure. No, it's experienced. Experienced SEOs would have been the better way to phrase it.
yeah.
Experienced SEOs would have been the better way to phrase it.
I think it's like one of the biggest mistakes, and we kind of talked about this, is like trying to optimize an entire site and fix everything across an entire site when you should be going after low hanging fruit.
But what is low hanging fruit? Low hanging fruit could also be making like low hanging fruit fixes, and they're
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, low hanging fruit keywords, right? So it's like we'll look at all the pages. I'll just give you an example. So, like, we'll go into Search Console, look at all the pages, which ones aren't indexed. Okay, maybe those aren't important. Which ones are indexed but not ranking well? Cool. What are those keywords? Do some keyword research really quickly. Okay, there's a lot of opportunities for these 5 keywords. Let's start there. I'm not starting with the not indexed pages. I'm not doing technical fixes across the entire site. I'm not doing any of that stuff, at least to begin with, because I want to start
When
showing.
do you cut the bloat?
Depends on the site,
Yeah.
right? Like it could be right away. It could be 3 months in, right? It could be like, hey, we've been doing SEO for, 3 months or 4 months and we're not really seeing any movement, right? And like if that's happening, that is a problem, right? So it's like, okay, let's investigate. Okay, well, they have 400 pages that aren't getting any traffic,
And
right?
that don't
So
even and aren't even valuable to users.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, should we focus on that right away? For I would say most clients, like those pages don't really have a massive impact on their rankings. But if a site's not ranking after a while, it's
I
like,
agree with
okay,
that.
well, we need to go through and like really trim the fat on this thing. And like, and I want to be clear, like there are some technical stuff that we fix site wide. Like I'll run like page speed insights on just the homepage because if there's errors on the homepage, it's going to be across the entire site likely. So I don't want to spend time going through every single of those 500 pages, be like, oh, this image needs to be optimized. It's like, no, we're going to fix the site as a whole, oh my God, what is it called? Minify
Yeah.
JavaScript. We're going to do all that kind of stuff. We're going to fix all that. And then if it's WordPress, we'll throw on like I forget what the plugin's called, but where it converts everything to WebP. right?
Oh,
It like smushes the images,
yeah.
and
It's
then like
just
go
smush.
through. Yeah, it smushes one of them.
Yeah,
But like just go through and do all of that and be like, cool, we upped the performance score from like 50 to 80 or 85 or whatever it is.
yeah,
And like that is one of the first things that we do. So
yeah.
I'm saying we do that site wide, but like you're doing that in one place. It's not every single individual page.
Okay. How about okay? How about this? Because I feel like we're still in agreement with. I actually think we're in agreement with this, and I probably didn't even explain myself like well enough. So let me ask you this: when you do a site crawl,
Yep.
I would assume that you take on a new client, you start with a site crawl.
Yes.
Okay. So at what point are you like, we really got to fix stuff here before we can actually go after keywords?
Never.
Okay.
So the
All
way
right. Maybe
that my
then I think, yeah, we disagree on some
no,
things
well,
because I,
so
yeah,
the way my agency works, we have two different kinds of specialists. We have like the just general SEO specialists. These are the people who do keyword research, they write the content, they edit the content, all this stuff. Then on the other end, we have the technical SEO specialists, which they're the ones running the crawl, and they will go through and identify any issues. And like I was using Ahrefs and I was using SEMrush and then Screaming Frog, all this kind of stuff before, but I was like, there's too much information, there's too much irrelevant shit in here. So I built my own tool that people can also subscribe to, but that's the one we use in house. And it just identifies like, here's the biggest things that you should go after right away. Like
yeah,
these pages are missing these things. So we're doing the content in tandem with doing some of the fixes. We're not fixing everything all at once because every single site could have thousands of issues.
yes,
And are they really that important to fix the thousands of issues? Right.
no. And I like, I no, and it's more so like there are some fundamental things that like, if that you see, like, for example, uh, maybe there's two versions of a site. The
Yeah.
staging site is indexed.
Yeah.
You should probably fix that right away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if there's anything big that sticks out like that, 100%.
Maybe like you have like you have like 3 H1s on every page.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. I know, like, hear me out. So I was on Mighty Networks. They're like a what's it called? Like a community platform. Uh, and I was on their blog and I was like, how are these guys ranking so well? And I'm looking at their all their heading tags and all this stuff. They have 11 heading one tags on the page.
Wow.
And I was like, no, like that goes against everything that I believe,
Yeah.
all the evidence that I have. So I was experimenting for a while with having more than one heading one tag, and it works if they're at least on my when I was testing it on my site, it works if it's the same one for desktop, one for mobile. Like if you're not doing truly responsive website
Yeah.
design.
Sure. Sure.
But for them, I was like, maybe they have the topical authority, maybe the content's so good it doesn't matter. Um, so I'm like, for me, when I look at a website, I'm like, this page is ranking, it has 5 H1 tags. I'm not touching that page unless it starts losing ranking.
Yeah, sure. It's ranking and it has 5 H1 tags.
It's ranking number one, it's getting a bunch of traffic.
Yeah,
Like,
it's getting a
are you
bunch of
going through and
traffic. Yeah,
changing that?
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't.
Why?
Yeah, I wouldn't change it. But like if I see that like if it's like an easy thing to, if I see that like lots of just like every page has like multiple H1s and it's a very easy thing to fix and you can just
Yeah.
like you can put in some code and it just fixes it across the site, like for me I'm like, why not fix that?
Okay, so here's an example of that, not with H1 tags, but with H2 tags on Shopify stores.
And also I do wonder, like, fixing it, how much of a difference would that really have with your rankings if you did fix it? Because it's like the relevance is still there. The
Yeah.
page rank is still there.
Yeah. Are you talking about the page that has 5 H1 tags that's ranking really well?
Yeah, like let's say you did actually go and fix that. Well, you're not changing the language. You're not changing the internal linking.
Yeah. I mean, Listen, if you want to try that for somebody's website and like potentially lose rankings, like I like that my job is to get our clients more traffic, and I
Yeah.
don't want to mess with something that's doing well. And I'll tell clients, I'm like, this page is optimized poorly, but it's ranking. We're going to leave it and we're not going to touch this page. And they'll be like, okay, like I don't quite get that. But one thing we do fix is on Shopify stores, in the code, I don't know if it's all the themes, but there's usually like currency as an H2 tag. And that's a really easy fix because like, as you know, H2 tag should support what the H1 tag is. And with the word currency and like a dollar sign, like that doesn't support shit. Right. So you can go in
Yeah.
the code and change that across the site. Or the thing that gets me, and I'm sure you see this all the time too, is a pop-up that has a heading 1 tag like as the main text
Yeah, I see that
in
too.
the pop-up. And
Yeah.
that renders in the HTML of the page
Yeah.
as another heading 1
So
tag.
you fix that.
That's stuff that we'll fix, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But it's like, I think we're talking about like granular page by page or like site-wide fixes. Like we'll
It
fix
depends.
site-wide
It
fixes right
depends on
away.
how big the site is. Like how long would it take to make low-hanging fruit fixes to a site that has a couple hundred pages? Wouldn't take that long.
Well,
Now,
like
if it was like
10, 20 minutes a page.
well, it depends on what you're doing, and
Right.
you can do stuff that would be site-wide. You
Yes.
can change things site-wide. So, uh, but like a clear example would be, I'm trying to think, like there's examples that people do with blog posts where, I mean, most blog posts, if you're using, I would still, if there were no page titles for blog posts,
Yeah.
I would still just go and copy the H1 and put that as a page title. I would still actually have a page title there instead of leaving it empty. Like
Oh, for sure.
that's a very simple, but you see that. So when you do a site crawl, you see so many pages where people just haven't bothered to put in a page title. And even if
But
there's
like,
an H1, I would actually go and take the 1 minute to put in a page title. That's the H1.
yeah. I mean, like if you're using something like Yoast, you can go into the options and just select that it
Right.
matches the heading one, or not the heading one, but like the title that's on
Yeah,
the
but
back end.
you still see lots of sites that don't have page titles.
Mhm.
You still see that in site crawls.
Yeah.
And now if it's, if it's a site that has like, oh yeah, how about this? It's a site that has like thousands of pages. You can't go and fix every page. And it has like a really, really terrible design. Will you try to fix the design before doing offensive SEO? Because like if you have a bad enough design, it could really influence pogo sticking.
100%. Um, what I would first look at is two things. Is the site getting traffic? How much traffic is it getting, and which pages are getting traffic? Like,
They've been getting worse and worse rankings every month.
so I would still do that. Look at the pages that are getting traffic. Look at the pages that are ranking.
Yeah.
Keep all of those in terms of
Yeah.
content
You're
as
right. You're
similar as
right.
possible. And then second thing, I look at which pages have backlinks. We're going to keep all those pages. And everything else doesn't need to be there.
Because yeah, you're right. And a lot of webmasters think that they can't, that they're doing something really wrong, and or like their site is like plagued and they can't rank or something. And maybe, yeah, their design is they think that their design is terrible, but they're just not doing the fundamentals. Oh, you don't have enough. You're in like a more competitive niche than you think, and you don't have enough authority.
Yeah.
You're not interlinking properly. You have a bunch of orphan pages. You're not even bothering targeting keywords, or you're only going after the most competitive keywords, and you're going after the most competitive keywords with completely generic content, and you don't
Yeah.
even have a lot of authority.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so many, like, and that's the other thing too, is like, I think both of us, we make our content for people who are business owners who are trying to do this stuff themselves. Right. So it's like, how are they supposed to know all of that when they watch a reel or they read a blog post? It's like how to do SEO. It's
Yeah.
like there's so much like content intent right? Content helpful. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you really have to break that stuff down.
Yeah, it could sound complicated if you're not familiar with like the phrase search intent. What is that search intent? It sounds
Yeah.
like it's a more like complex thing than it is, when really it's like the most fundamental,
Yeah.
basic concept. I think I feel like if we looked at a site, audit,
Yeah.
we would, and it had like, I think we would probably agree on a lot of the priority for how to do things.
For sure. I
Like
don't disagree with that. I
like
mean, there's
like
probably a
one
couple
that like
things, but
yeah, one that had like all these technical flaws or something. Because you do at the same time, you do have to prioritize technical flaws with also go like what's important and what's not important. And there's a lot of things that are not important, that are
yeah.
not worth fixing. And I completely agree with that.
Oh, 100%. I'm interested to hear like what are some of the SEO, like not who the people are that you've had on, but like what are some of the strategies that you completely disagree with? Because and maybe I'm like in a box, but like I don't really disagree with a lot of the people that I actually talk to, like yourself or like Jake. Um, like I do disagree with like heavy programmatic SEO, um, if it's not done right.
Yeah,
Like I
if it's not
disagree
done
with stuff
right,
like
if it's
that,
not
but
done, I like programmatic SEO, but you also see cases where it's just not done right. Schema is, it's actually like, people really hate me for my opinions on schema. I think you really only need to worry about schema if you are in a SERP where schema is actually mattering. You actually just
okay.
have to like look at the SERP. It's like it's by SERP basis, and like
So
yeah,
I completely agree. So this tool that I'm developing that measures the top pages versus bottom pages, schema markup does not make a difference
that's what I'm
in the
saying.
ranking.
I
And
ranked so many pages without proper schema.
like the only schema that we do is the stuff that comes with WordPress or Shopify. Like it just auto populates,
And it's
right? And
like
like,
it's you if you look at the SERP and then you see like, okay, all these pages have these features and they're all using schema, and the schema is actually showing up, and you need to use schema in order to have an increased click-through rate. Fine, then do it. Then do it. But
yeah,
yeah,
100%. Sorry, I was just like, I lost my train of thought, but I was going to say something about schema. Schema doesn't matter. Oh, like most websites, and like I'm gonna just talk about small businesses, but like nail salon down the road, or like the heating and cooling guy, or the plumber, or like the pottery classes. I don't know. What None of those sites are gonna have crazy schema unless somebody's been doing SEO for that person, and even then, it still probably won't matter because there's so many other factors that are coming into play. Like when we're talking about like local SEO, or even like just regular SEO. There's so many other factors.
it's like, look at the SERP, see what
Yeah.
shows. Google ignores schema all the time and then deprecates other forms of schema also all the time. Like,
Yeah, and Google also ignores your title tag and your meta description and chooses their own
right.
if they want to.
That's yes.
Like there's no way to force Google to
I
be
will
like, this
say
is what the page is
I
about.
have a page title formula that Google goes with very often, and I think it outperforms what Google generates. Where it's like, I mean,
I know what you're gonna
yeah,
yeah,
you've seen it.
I took your course. I know, like with the
Yeah,
vertical bars.
yeah. Well, it's not just about the pipes, because some people disagree with having the pipes. It's, you have like, okay, everyone knows like put the target keyword at the beginning of the page title, but what so few other people actually do is they go and address the benefit and searcher's goal right there in the page title. So
Yeah.
few people actually do that, and it
Hmm.
increases click-through rate so much. And then also say this is an interesting thing that a lot of people disagree with. And I got this when I was at iProspect and I was doing SEO for like some of the most valuable companies in the world. iProspect owns by Dentsu. And, I was doing it for companies like Procter and Gamble and like Exotica. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, those were brand names, and we would put the brand name at the end of the page title. But even if you are not a major brand name and you put your brand name at the end of the page title, it kind of signals that you are an actual trustworthy brand that people should pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think about branded search? How important is having branded search terms?
I mean, that's a measure of how good your overall marketing is.
100%, but
Oh, how
Do
important
you
is it? Like if you're scaling backlinks and you're not getting branded searches, that's a problem.
so for me, like what I think it's very important to at least at a certain point start getting branded searches because that shows Google that you're a legitimate business. Like people are looking for your business and that helps with your overall search.
Yeah. I mean, it's a known thing that if you are scaling links and you're scaling SEO and you are not getting branded searches, that could actually be a problem for you. But
100%. So
but I would bet that it's a later stage problem. Like,
yes.
yeah, it doesn't it's really if you are like, yeah, it's if you're just starting, it can be very, very easy to have a site that can pay your rent with
Oh yeah.
SEO.
Did I tell you like my my like dream in the next like year or two is to like buy a nail salon? Did we talk about this?
Maybe I've somebody else said this to me, but you want to buy a nail salon and do SEO for a nail salon and have a chain of nail salons.
Not necessarily a chain, just like then like this sounds crazy to say, but like I would spend like a hundred and whatever $1,000, $100,000 plus to buy a business and just flip, like not flip it, but like optimize it, get traffic to it, blow it
And
up.
you want to do like a
Just
local business, like a brick and
yeah,
mortar business.
dude, that's the easiest shit to do,
Dude, I
right?
literally was thinking about that today, actually, like just a couple hours ago, because I'm doing the thing that I told you that I wanted to do, which is like get a young, ambitious founder, a
Yeah,
real operator who's smart, who likes SEO, who wants to build a business, who likes SaaS, who likes vibe coding. We found a niche where people don't want to vibe code. And then we also that niche also has bad SEO. So there's like we're looking at like apps that are getting tons of rankings that don't even know how to do SEO. And there's
yeah,
money in the niche. And again, nobody wants to vibe code their own solutions. And we're actually doing that. I'm paying this operator $3,000 a month, giving him 10% equity. And
love
then
that.
pardon?
I love that. That's sick.
10% equity. And then once the company's making money, he pays himself more and more and more. And but yeah, like he did all the keyword research. He's doing my method of SEO. And yeah, so we're doing this whole thing, which is what I've been saying that I wanted to do for a while. And I believe we can turn this into a billion-dollar company. But I also was thinking like what it would be like to do just uh like a chain of local businesses instead.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's so much more overhead. I feel like there's so much more complexities when,
Like
because
to actually run that business.
yeah, because it's a lot more people heavy. And then like it's like, okay, something goes wrong with SaaS, with a SaaS, you can fix it a lot easier. And
Yeah.
but like, a pipe bursts and your roof is leaking, it's you gotta find the right person, you gotta bring them in, like you gotta hope that it doesn't happen again. And it's a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
you're not buying a business that doesn't have all of that infrastructure there. You're buying a business that they are ready to go. They just don't have enough work and they're willing to sell at a discount. And then all of a sudden you come in and you're like, okay, well, your system that you have in place, we're going to push people to it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have it's the same thing. You know what? It's the same thing. You have an operator in place, they worry about
Yeah.
that stuff, and you don't worry about it. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking. I was thinking. I guess how different the actual marketing implementation would be. Because like there are some people that I follow. I forget the person's name. On X, who talks about all the different ways he's doing marketing for his local businesses. And it's like he has like these identifiable vans and uniforms and slogans and all this stuff. And it's so fun. And
Yeah.
you're sponsoring events. Dude, I hope you get the nail salon.
That,
Are you
like
are
for
you moving on
me,
that?
not at the moment because I want to make sure I have like at least 150 grand to 200 grand cash like that I can just again sounds crazy but like do this experiment
Why a
and
nail
show
salon?
people like what's that?
Why a nail salon?
Yeah,
No,
that's
why? Why a
what
nail salon? Why not a plumbing business or a roofing business or
I feel
a
like it's a
barber
lot
shop?
lower
Hmm.
barrier to entry to get a nail salon than it would be to do like an electrical company or something.
Yeah.
right? Like there's no licenses that you need in terms of like, actually putting wires in people's houses, and like the insurance is probably lower. Like it's just all that stuff. I also have a friend who owns a chain of nail salons like in a different city. So I have somebody that I can lean on and be like, hey, like tell me all about this, right? What are the biggest mistakes? And then just start there, right? I don't think I'd ever own a restaurant because the margins are shit.
Yeah.
But like
Have you
a
thought
nail
about the ways
salon,
that you would do marketing for a nail salon? Like, have you
oh my
actually like
god,
thought about it? Have you
dude.
really?
Okay, why? Like, first of all, yes, obviously SEO and local SEO, all that kind of stuff.
Uh,
Everybody who comes in, you have to leave a Google review. Basically, like we incentivize them to do that as much as possible. Obviously, that's all the SEO stuff. The other side of it is like find 20 local influencers, like for a nail salon, like women in the area, and say, if you post a video every time you come in, it's free. Like, what does that cost you realistically? It's costing you 15, $20 for free
yeah.
media. And like
Yeah.
local influencers, even if they have 3 or 5,000 followers, like that's
Yeah.
3 to 5,000 local people who are seeing your shit potentially. And then you could also broker deals with them and be like, let me use that as an ad. And they probably are going to be like, yeah, cool. I'm like, here's $200 for your creative. I'm going to run it as an ad. They'll be happy with that. Right? Versus somebody else who has a bigger following, like maybe in the SaaS world, who's like, oh yeah, you can use my creative, but it's going to be, $10 every 1,000 views you get. Right? Shit like that. So we have the local SEO side, we have the influencer side. Then we also have the email marketing side, which nobody does. Right? Local businesses don't know about email
Yeah.
marketing. They're not growing
Yeah.
their email list. You
Yeah.
don't think I'm going to be spending a ton of money on ads, getting local people signed up to that email list to show them deals, to show them, what's going on, to get them in. And then on top of all of that, there's like the way that the business runs, like nail salons and a lot of businesses are, was it us talking about this? Where it's like one-time sales versus like it's reoccurring
Might
versus
have been.
recurring,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's like, yeah, a nail salon, people keep coming back, so it's
Yeah.
reoccurring, or it's recurring. Anyways,
Recurring.
it's not guaranteed that they come back. It's like, well, maybe now we have a membership where you get a mani pedi every month, and then you get 25% off any other service that you want, right?
And
So
you
we
have
have that
adjacent
guaranteed income.
partnerships, and those adjacent partnerships give you backlinks that people actually click on, and then it, like other benefits.
Dude,
Yeah, it's
somebody's
fun.
like, if somebody's listening to this podcast and they're like, I have the money to buy a nail salon, just literally do what I said. And like, it's almost impossible that it is not successful.
Nail salon is one of those niches where the SEO isn't that competitive, and the marketing in general isn't that competitive.
Yeah. Like it just sounds fun. Like to me, I'm like, yeah, nail salon could be any business, but I'm like, it would just be fun to experiment with that. Cause I do it with my business. I have an email list. I do social media, obviously. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing SEO. I'm doing all this stuff, but
Would
like, how
your
fun would it
would your
be?
nail salon owner go on podcasts?
The owner?
Yeah, or like the representative.
Maybe. Depends on who that person is.
I could see that going on beauty podcasts in order to boost SEO. I could
Oh, I
totally.
like do that. Like, and also on top of it, we're doing a bunch of press releases.
Well, yeah, and yeah, you're doing press releases. You're finding like a million angles to pitch. Like, okay, there's like an event in town. Here's some interesting ways to do your nails to go to the event. Like
Yeah.
you're finding any angle, and then you're creating a relation. I wrote my newsletter about this today about like, so everyone goes after backlinks by like pitching journalists. One, you should find relevant angles to do that. But what
Yeah.
nobody else does is people don't follow up with journalists every month. Hey, are you like, do you need me for any stories that you're writing? Like, can I be of help to you?
Yeah.
Or like, oh my God, there's this event coming up, or a storm coming up, or the summer season's coming up, and I can give you a way, like, and homeowners need to know about this for their roofs, or like you need to know about this for your
Yeah.
nails and do this for your nails. And the thing is, for local news and local businesses, the bar for what news is actually very low.
It's so low.
Yeah. And those get you links, they get you referral traffic, they get you social proof. Like,
Yeah.
They give you brand mentions, which boosts you in LLMs. Yeah.
It just seems so simple, but like we're talking about it from an area where like we know how to do all this stuff, but like a nail salon owner or like the pottery people or like whoever it is, like they don't know how to do this because they're also working in their business all day. They're not working on their business
The
all day.
real problem is, how do you prioritize? Because there are so many different things that you can do. So what do you prioritize to, like, what's going to move the needle most? What do you start with?
So I don't know if you're this type of person, but I just do everything all at once. I'm gonna bring some because like I also have an agency, so I have the ability to do that. I'm like, all right, you're gonna be working on the local SEO. You're gonna do this. You're gonna be working on like some of the social media stuff. I want you to do outreach to or find all the local influencers. You're gonna do that.
Yeah, but dude,
I
you're sorry. This is like you have a big team. This is like someone with
like
their own nail salon.
oh, if somebody's doing that with their own nail
Yeah,
salon,
I'm
do it
talking.
all.
I'm talking about the small business owners who are listening right now, and it's
Yeah.
like it's like, yeah, I can only do so much. What do I start with?
Start with getting reviews. Like literally every single person who comes in, be like, scan this QR code. Oh, you're not logged into Google. Let me help you log into Google. Like you need to almost be aggressive with like, oh, I don't know, I'm not logged in. I don't know, or like an older person, I don't know how to do it. It's like, well, let me show you.
Yeah,
Right. This way, like you can
yeah.
talk about all your favorite restaurants and or your favorite businesses, and you could actually be helping them out. And like that might turn some people off, sure, but the reviews are going to help you in the long run because they
Feel
also
free
probably
to
aren't going to
include
go
a picture
through.
of your nails and yeah.
That's the thing. Like I know you technically can't offer incentives to leave 5-star reviews, but you could. And I don't know if this is like violating Google's guidelines. I don't do this, but um, very clearly I do not do this. But it's like, oh, if you leave a review, you get 10% off your next thing. We're off of this. If you leave a review with the picture, you get 15% off. If you leave a review with a video of your nails, you get 20% off. Whatever it is.
I think it's okay to ask people to give reviews. It's just not okay to ask them to give good reviews.
Yeah.
I
So yeah,
think.
you
I
can.
think.
That's my understanding as well. It's like if you leave me a 5-star review, you can get 10% off. Like I wouldn't say that. But I've seen a lot of businesses that are like, yeah, if you leave us a
That's in
review,
Google's interest as well, to actually have them go and use Google Maps and leave a review. It's just, yeah, I think the problem is if you are actually asking for a good review, or
yeah,
if you only giving like if you are only giving discounts on people who are doing good reviews.
yeah, no, it's just like
But
across the board,
I would double check that too. I would double check that too.
100%. I wouldn't just launch any of this, but
Yeah.
focus on getting reviews. Your small business, get as many reviews as you possibly can. Obviously, not all at once, and make sure it's consistent because it looks suspicious as hell if you're getting,
Oh yeah.
100 reviews in a week and then no reviews after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Matt, this was a very fun 15-minute episode.
Hour 15 flew by. Love it.
Well, for listeners, we literally had this scheduled for 15. 15 minutes. I pitched this to you as a mini case study episode, and that's
Yeah.
what it was. And I was also like, oh, I'm so excited to have a short episode today. It's gonna be great. and I was just like, like I'm having fun. Matt's
You could
having fun.
you could clip it into a short episode if you want to.
No,
I
I'm
really
not
don't
gonna do
care.
that.
I just
No.
I
This
love
is
chatting with
like
you.
this is. I got to use the energy was good.
Energy
It's
was
about
great.
the energy. Yeah.
And I have my new background here for those watching. Like,
Dude, it
well,
looks
not
so
new,
nice.
but that's yeah. It's a whole job to set up all the lights.
How long did you work on cuz like actually I saw a video where like Jake was like he was like making his office into, he's just like, I think he's renovating his office and he's like
Yeah.
taking it, I think I forget if he said this to me. I think maybe it was off camera, and he said he wanted to like turn it into, yeah, cuz we were talking about Star Wars and he wanted to actually like turn it into a Star Wars set or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like that's Jake. It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
I was asking him about it because he has all these Star Wars posters, and I was a big Star Wars fan, and like I grew up like obsessed with Star Wars, and yeah, we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, I think he said he was gonna make it look like the interior of a Star Wars ship or something like
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, he could
he's
just
actually
green screen that. Like, he doesn't need to do all the work.
Yeah, but it's gonna look so much better if it's not
Oh,
if it's actually real. Like it's gonna be crazy. And then also for TikToks, come on, that's gonna be like
yeah, true.
that's gonna be such good content. He's coming on actually on Tuesday. He's
Oh,
coming back
sick.
on. Yeah, he's coming back
Love
on
that.
because I put up that episode. By the way, I think your email blast for that episode drove a lot of viewers.
Oh yeah.
But like you saw how I clipped basically his statements at the beginning where he's like, yeah, my agency's doing like 15 to 18 million a year, and I do zero work, zero
Yeah.
like hands-on work. And so I clipped that. And then a friend of mine who's been on the podcast before, Gagan Gotra, he's like, man, I enjoyed this episode with Jake so much. I'd love to ask Jake some questions, and I'm like, let's just do a podcast episode, like you,
Oh yeah.
me, and Jake. And so it's the podcast episode on Tuesday. It's just going to be Gagan Gotra asking Jake about how Jake structured his agency and grew his agency and stuff like that.
I love that. That's like another way that you could do podcasts where you're kind of just like you're the host. You're like it's a panel show and the guests are just talking, and then you could like interject and move the conversation forward. That's sick.
Dude, before I had the show, I was like, I don't know if you know people like this or if you're somebody like this. I just always loved bringing people together who I thought would have interesting conversations.
Yeah.
I like being a fly on the wall for interesting conversations. And it's cool that with this show, I get to facilitate that. I like
100%.
having fun conversations with people, and I like facilitating interesting conversations where I do like no talking. Like
Yeah.
the first time that I had, it was we had like this holiday special with Gagan Gotra, Harpreet Singh, and David Quaid, who are all like pretty known SEOs, especially on X, and they had all been on the show before, and and they came together for a guest episode. Actually, that one was Gagan's idea. They came together for a guest episode. For the first 30 minutes of the episode, I didn't speak at all. I introduced them, and then literally I didn't say anything for the first 30 minutes. And for the rest of
amazing.
the episode, I was still mostly silent. And I was just like, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying listening to this.
It's also, do you want to stop the recording so it uploads?
Oh,
Or do you
yeah,
still
I
want to use
should.
this?
I was planning on using this. I was like, yeah, but
Oh,
I should play us out. I should give the outro.
Sorry, I just assumed. I'm like,
No.
You did the outro like 10 minutes ago.
Did I? No, I said it was. Well, yeah, no. The outro is. This is the outro. The outro is. This is episode 971 of the Edwards Show. 971 days in a row, no days missed. Thank you to Matt Diamante for coming on the podcast. And then I go, Matt, where can everybody find you?
Online.
Then you find Matt
On the internet,
Diamante of Hey Tony Agency online. If you watch this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now. See, that's the outro. And I'm
Does
actually
that count
gonna.
as the outro? Did you just do the outro?
I did the outro.